Access Radio, the future of radio and podcast. No limit to what we do.
Access Radio, WIAX, the future of radio and podcast. No limit to what we do.
Jamel, celebrity vocal coach right here, and I am a part of Give It Life. And ratchet, we bring it real extra ratchet, raunchy.
Let it be everywhere, like.
What we got coming up? Those shops is upstairs, but we down here by our houses, man. This nigga got hit the wall off the set. We need
Phoenix Soul. Clarity and connection through conversation. Phoenix Soul. Clarity and connection through conversation.
Okay. I was getting too much involved with the music. Welcome to Phoenix Soul, everybody. This is Yaz HURSTON. Thank you for joining us. And remember, Phoenix Soul is clarity and connection through conversation. Yaz HURSTON's here. I really apologize. I know you're like, well, dag, Yaz, when are you going back to the studio? But I just want to give a shout out to Big Al, who has allowed me to come to you remotely, because most of my guests now have been remote, right? And so we want to get back into that studio. I'm going to definitely get some folks in there. We got really some thoughtful guests coming up, thinking about Juneteenth, thinking about what we're doing in July. And if you were looking forward to our guest last week, he had an emergency and we expect to get him again. But rest assured, this show today, going to be fire. Why is it going to be fire? It's going to be fire because I really enjoy interviewing my friends. I enjoy, because you think you know something about them, and it's always something that comes up in the interview that you're like, wow, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. And so I'm very, 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 very honored to introduce this person who I have known at least for, I want to say 10 years, right? And this person has been very critical and pivotal and life-changing in my life. And I'll explain more about that as we go on to the interview. But we talk about it takes a village. We talk about how we support these young people in times where there's a lot of uncertainty. We talk about activity that has bad behavior, with gangs and crime, and just the people need deterrence, kids need deterrence, parents need help, all that stuff. However, how great is it to find an organization that helps your child fulfill the soul and the mind, right? And their body. And so I think I found this and I wanted to share this with you all. And the first step to finding that, I had to meet this gentleman and I had to like get on the same page with his agenda with my child. But I think I talk about this organization so much. It's only fitting now that I introduce them formally from my perspective to the audience, you all. So, brothers and sisters, I give you the co-founder and the CEO of the Harlem Jets, Jamel Wright. That was all, right?
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot there, Miss Jasmine.
It was a lot. Usually I try to do an intro in the beginning of the show.
Yes.
And then add it in. You know how it goes. But what's up, Mel?
Hey, all is well. I'd like to start by thanking you as well as the staff and your co-host of Phoenix Soul for having me. This is something that was we've talked about for quite some time. So I'm just pleased to finally have made it onto the show. That you guys thought enough of me to invite me to become a part of the show. So thank you for having me, and let's get to it.
Well, we had to build it up, so by the time you got here, it was ready for you. You know that. This is new.
I understand.
This is new. I had to practice, if you will, before you put some big wigs on. So you are one of the big wigs that that we recently have on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you as a person and like where you grew up and everything, and what shapes Mel to be who he is today?
So just, I don't know. I'll go to it. I'll get to it. This is our 17th year in existence as the Harlem Jets. We kind of started off, just wanting to, I'm from the Wagner houses over on the east side of Harlem, born and raised there. Was a product of a single parent household. My dad passed away and my mom just chose not to get remarried because she said that was the only guy she ever really loved. So she said, that's it. I'm gonna do that once, and that guy's gone. And when I see him, I'll see him again. Until then, it's us. So that kind of forced me to kind of find other outlets for kind of to mimic manhood behind. And they were also although I didn't have a dad, there was a gentleman by the name of they call him Sonny, but his name is Eugene McQuitter. He lived in that development, and he took a liking to me, and he had a football team by the name of the Ravens. And they were a group of grown men. Some had played semi-pro, some played college ball. And they had a team, and he would just take me, him and I, middle of the winter on this little motorcycle, traveling all over New York City to go see grown men play tackle football. And then ultimately with the Ravens, they had this rough two-hand touch team. So that kind of was my very, very, very early beginnings and kind of, my exposure to the sport. And then, fast forwarding, I end up having my own child. He expressed an interest in playing football. We were coming past the field, which is now, Harlem River Park, now newly renovated that we can barely get on. That's another story that we'll talk about later. But he expressed an interest. We went out. He wasn't old enough. So I just sponsored a couple of kids, but I saw that it was a good thing. It just needed a little bit of tweaking. And then I ultimately got involved with that, and they were the Giants of Harlem. So through the Giants, we played, and then, we had some challenges or whatever, not to knock them down. They did the best they could do with what they had. So then my guys that I brought in with me were like, Mel, this is a great thing, but those guys are not really doing it the way that we like to do it. So is there any opportunity for us to create a better situation and scenario for our children?
Is that how they asked?
To put it, no, we're not coming back to this BS. Yo, we want to do it, but we're not going to do it that way. So, I vowed to my guys that I said, look, man, just give me a minute, we'll figure it out. And I did exactly that. Coach Kev and I went to the meeting. At that meeting, that's when it kind of happened. We formed up Voltron. Coach Kev became the VP. I'm the president. He's the VP. On the way to the meeting, Kev, don't say nothing. I'll take it from here. And we laughed and joked, and we pulled it off. And we made it happen. We ended up, giving all of the Jets equipment to those guys, and we started anew. And just, during the earlier stages, it was rough and tumble because we were coming from a league that wasn't as organized or as competitive. So you go from like informal to formal, and oh man, it was tough. It was tough. It was tough sledding, but we persevered. We learned about, a lot about ourselves. We learned about our children. We learned about our community, and it just became very, very, very evident that the people in the community will support you and will be there for you and with you if you're doing something that they deem worthy. And that was the motivating factor to keep going. And now, 17 years later, we've put thousands of kids into and through college. We've yet to get have an NFL guy, but we got some of those guys in the pipeline right now. Say less, right? But we've put, we've churned out hundreds of college graduates, hundreds of productive young men. And I'm a firm believer that we would love for each and every one of our kids to go to college and matriculate and do all of that. But there are other pathways to success. I also believe in entrepreneurship. I believe in guys going through skilled trades. We believe all, like, if there isn't one specific or perfect way to get from where you are to where you need to be. And where you need to be ultimately is successful and being able to have the ability to sustain you and your family and add to the community and not take anything away from it.
Sure. So you're just tuning in, you're listening to Phoenix Soul podcast. You can call us at 347-708-0216. I am Yaz Hurston, and we're here with Jamel Wright, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Harlem Jets. Now, Mel, I know what it is, but tell us the different types of programs that are in the Harlem Jets. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we currently offer, football is obviously the engine. That's the thing we started with. That's the thing that enables us to do most of the other things that we do. But we have football, we have cheerleading, we have lacrosse, wrestling, mentoring, tutoring, high school and college placement. And I'll just encapsulate it and say we have a lot of love for our kids in our community. That's really what it all boils down to. We just have a lot of love for our kids and community because, I think, and not to go off the beaten path, like, I believe that our kids and community are in need of love. There's a lot of things that go on in and around our community that our kids are experiencing that in some other places they'd be in counseling, right? So they're not in counseling, they're on the Harlem Jets. You know what I mean? They're coming to play football or they're coming to cheer, but they're with us.
And coaches are / therapists.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Coaches are everything. The coaches are everything. Yeah. It's just really a labor of love for us. I know that, but I'm not ashamed to say, like, we're staffed by 100% volunteers. Mm-hmm. So, people are giving of themselves, giving of their time, giving of their resources to ensure that our kids are covered. Like, there's a covering. That old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. But that's what we have going on over here in Jetland. So
you started out, I'm assuming, in football and you grew. Can you tell us a little bit about how this evolution, came about?
Mm-hmm, sure. So the evolution in a nutshell came about because we found that not every kid could take, like, football is a heavy contact sport, right? So not every kid wants to be getting knocked around multiple times, and not every, so you just kind of figure out whatever. Our thing has always been, whatever our kids in our community is in need of, let's try to provide those opportunities for them, right? So and it also created, like, when we started moving our kids into going to boarding schools and prep schools and things of that nature, we just wanted to create what we would call, somebody would call it their application. I call it their resume. So we want you to have an incredible resume as you move forward. We want to provide you with opportunities to do things that separate you from the pile, separate you from the pack. So not only are you a great football player, but you're also a wrestler. You're a great football player, a wrestler, and you excel academically. Oh, you're a young lady, you cheer. Now we're we're going to be launching some sports for girls. I believe that it's important that we do, whenever we partake in anything, we always strive for excellence. So we're not just rolling out balls for girls and say, hey, come try lacrosse or try field hockey or try any of the other things. Like, all of our sports are co-ed. So we've historically had 1 or 2 girls on the team. Obviously when they get a little bit older and they're a little more developed, it creates some additional challenges. But we definitely want to see our girls, grow and participate in a very elite level kind of way. But it's just really about, creating that incredible resume for your kid, so that when you have the kid from, their resume is very similar to it would be, with a kid living in Midtown or a kid living in, upstate somewhere. You've had multiple opportunities to do multiple things and you've excelled, and then we package it up and send you off. And most times we have a proven track record of success with that particular, running that particular play.
That's fantastic. So I'm hearing like, I remember the first time we met, and I remember the first time experiencing a couple of traditions that you do. Like, you do this camp, like these kids go one way and they come back with a whole different kid, right?
Yeah.
All these things to teach kids not just how to play, but they come back different. And you don't have to tell us, because I never wanted to know, right? But what's the purpose of these types of routines or traditions of taking them away to do skills training?
Right. So it's really, for me, it's really about like, you'll hear the term in the NFL or college or some of the other places, like, it's kind of like protect the shield, right? So Harlem Jets, it's kind of like the program is the shield. It's the thing that covers all of us. So, and going to football camp, it just builds a brotherhood. It's you're living with your team. So we go, last year we were in the Poconos, years prior to that, we were upstate New York. But what camp does for us is it gives you an opportunity to live amongst your brothers, right? For 4 days, 3 nights, whatever that configuration looks like. You're eating with them, you're sleeping with them, everything takes place. If one person does something wrong, everyone pays. We're up at 5:30 in the morning on the field by 6 a.m. and we're practicing every day. And kids are actually, and it's no different from our little kids to our older kids. Everyone goes through the exact same indoctrination. And it just builds this kind of brotherhood where, I was there, I was really struggling, and you gotta pull your brother along with you. You gotta, we're only going to be as strong as the weakest link. So we need to identify whomever, whatever that is, and basically help them to understand that we will only be as successful as you help us to become. So the brotherhood is just really what camp, and we got a lot of little chants and different things like that. And it's kind of, I don't want to compare it to Greek life, but it's, it's similar because it's a real brotherhood. And whether you went year 12 or you went year 2, it's the exact same thing that you're going to encounter. You're going to be amongst your brothers. You're going to work hard. You're going to give it your best effort. And if for some reason you decide that you're not going to, partake, we can quickly remind you in that setting that, my God, nothing less than your best effort will ever be accepted. you know.
And so your coaches, a lot of them, where do they come from? Or where do your other volunteer coaches and participants come from?
So we, as with our children, we don't have any residency requirements with our kids. So we have kids from we have coaches from all over the place. We have coaches from, not only from all over the place, we have coaches from all walks of life. From attorneys to doctors to the local bodega guy to the trash man to the MTA worker. It doesn't matter. We don't discriminate. All we ask is that you understand the importance of being present with and for the children. And if you're willing to do that, obviously we conduct our background checks, and then we have some training and some different things that has to be done prior to the person, being able to actually work with the kids. But, once you get past that, that process, We welcome you with open arms.
So they didn't have to play before. Is that right?
No, there isn't. No, so that's part of what when we have we have internal camps and clinics for our coaches to kind of show them what it should look like, right? And then you may have a guy that played 20 years ago, right? So 20 years ago, it was closer to a gladiator sport, right? Where, it was like, yo, if you have they had this thing called a crackback block where if you say, for example, your quarterback threw an interception and the guy's running the get him, and you just happen to see him out the corner of your eye, you could give him the hardest hit you could muster. You could clean him, kill him. If you felt like you could knock his block off, he would absolutely get that. Those types of things are illegal now, and it could ultimately cause you to be ejected from the game. But not so long ago, so it's really the game itself has moved towards being a much safer game, in an effort to protect people from receiving life-threatening injuries. And as we saw with the young man Hamlin, football is still a very inherently dangerous sport. He could have lost his life. So that's why, with us, we do send our guys for CPR training.
Sure.
We send them for CPR training. We try to always ensure that we have our defibrillator in close proximity to the field. So there are just some safety things that we just try to ensure are always present in everything that we do.
So speaking of life safety and saving lives, rather, Harlem Jets also plays another role, I would imagine, for some of the young men and women out there, perhaps giving them an option than what's in front of them, right? What would you say about your role and your presence in some of these young people's lives that deterred them from making some wrong decisions?
Oh man, that's everything. So we have a little process in place. So typically if something goes like really bad, like if a kid is in some hot water, I'll get the call, right? I'll get the call from whomever is the closest. I'll get the call and then I'll ring the alarm, and we have some guys that are a part of that kind of emergency response team. And then we immediately jump in, and whatever they're in need of, that's what we'll do. And, it's really, for us, it's really about providing that village experience where you're having some stuff is going wrong right now, but you're not alone, right? Because for example, with all of the coaches that we have, some of the kids, I have a pretty good relationship with most of the kids, but then there's some kids that have a different level of connectivity with some of the other coaches. So for us, it's always important that before you make that catastrophic step, that when it's nothing we can do for you, don't do that. Call one of us, right? And then we'll say, where are you? And then whomever is closest, we'll try to get to them and just try to let them know that, listen, man, bad behavior comes with consequences, but you're not alone. We'll never abandon you. But if you do something really bad, then there's consequences associated with it. If you in school fighting, you're probably going to get suspended. You're in school stealing, you're probably going to get expelled. You do something crazy in the street, then you may have to have a conversation with the police department, right? So we just try to have those real conversations. One of the largest things that we kind of talk to our kids now about is social media, and understanding that if you have aspirations of becoming a collegiate ball player, they're going to check all of that stuff, right? So if you get on there and you calling people N's and F's and D's and all kind of crazy stuff, you could possibly throw your opportunity away or blow it, because no one wants to have that kind of energy with them or where they're at. So you have to be mindful. If you're taking it serious now, if you just want to be a jerk about it and you go ahead and do it, then you got to be prepared to deal with that.
So there's two sides to this. There's the body, and I want to talk a little bit more about your ages. I don't know how you want to share with all the programs or with just football, but what's the age ranges and how do you break them up?
Mm-hmm. So we currently go from basically 5 all the way to 13, on the cusp of turning 14. if you remember during I think when you were with us, we were going all the way up to 18. So we had an older team. We called them Super Prep. And there were a group of guys that some had played with us in their younger days, some didn't, but they were a group of guys that I was really, really fond of. But we found that, and kind of dealing with them was kind of, siphoning away some of the resources that we needed to be more impactful with the younger kids. And then you're also dealing with a kid that's, 18, on the verge of turning 19. Some of them have kids. Some of them, gainfully employed, all of them, most if not all of them have girlfriends, so so you're almost dealing with an adult. So it's a little bit different. So it's kind of like, at this point, we are still here with you and for you, but we thought that like it might make a little more sense to focus our time and energy on some of the younger kids that had a much longer shelf life, and we can be a lot more impactful in their lives. And as I stated, we go from, so that's an individual increment. So we got, so it's 6 and under, which is our 5 and 6 year olds, 7 and under, 8 and under, which is our 7 and 8 year olds. And then from that, after that, it goes 9 and under, 10 and under, 11 under, 12 and under, 13 under. And that's where we stop.
Is it still done by weight now? Or is it just age?
No, so yeah, they've done away with it. They call it the All-American division. So we're no longer doing weight. When your son played, oh my goodness! That's a testament. That's a testament to Coach Alex and Coach Alex and Coach Tyson, that were working really hard to ensure that all of our kids always made weight. And I think we had such a great record of getting our kids. So we made sure that the kids made the weight. Like, listen, you gotta, so it was sometimes it took more effort and energy than others. Yeah, like listen. Yeah, you can't eat that Big Mac, my guy.
You can't eat that Big Mac.
Yeah, sorry, my guy. You can't eat Big Macs during the season. It's important that you're conscious about your weight. So luckily, because
it was a beginning.
Yeah, folks found themselves kind of doing that, and it was like, man, that's a lot to ask of a kid. So from an industry perspective, they transitioned to what they call All-American. So All-American is unlimited weight, is age-based. So if you're 6 and under, regardless of how big you are, you're playing with the 6 and unders.
That's crazy.
Same thing, 8 and under, 9 and under, so on and so forth. So and the age cutoff is July 31st. So it's however old you are as of that particular date.
Sure. Now, the competition, how do you, like, who do you play in your competitions and stuff?
So we transitioned back to Big Apple. We had left for a number of years.
Oh, wow.
And we were part of our own league, which was the Empire State League. That has now gone defunct. But we were part of we're now part of Big Apple. I think they changed the name to Big Apple Tri-State. So they have teams in all of the 5 boroughs, New Jersey, Connecticut. So I think basically that's it, like the tri-state area. Super duper competitive, never a day off. I mean, it hasn't gotten quite back to what it was when you were here, where there was a point where there was never a weekend off. Like, and if you lost 2 games, you wouldn't make the playoffs. It was that competitive. Now it's a little different. Obviously the rules have changed, as I stated earlier. But we still play a team like the Hurricanes, the Staten Island Hurricanes. We still play. We play. Who else is the Renegades? The Brooklyn Renegades. They're a team that's been around. Some of the teams that were around when you were there have fallen by the wayside. But there's still, like, every year there are like maybe 2 or 3 different teams that pop up.
Well, Harlem Jets was a team to beat. Is that still the case now?
I think, just to be fair, I think we're always the team to beat because of who and what we are. and that's just being real. So winning against
You're
us,
you're a competitor. In this.
yeah, it means something. It really does mean something. Part of what we decided to do during COVID, we didn't play at all during COVID. So there were teams that never stopped playing. So I don't know if you can recall, but sports as a whole were banned in New York City. Right?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you all fare during that?
They took the rims off the backboards. They closed all the parks, chained them up. So the opportunities didn't present themselves. We as a staff met and deemed that it was risk over reward. Like, we don't believe that the risk outweighs the reward. So we decided not to play at all. So we didn't play. We had some Zoom workouts that we did for a few months, but we didn't play any competitive games. As a result of that, it put us behind a little bit. So over the last year and a half, 2 years, we were kind of building it back up. And I'm proud to say, like, two of our coaches that are legacy kids, Coach BJ, Bruce Parker Jr., Coach Bruce's son,
wow.
And Coach Kev's son, Dejan, are coaches for the younger levels. And those kids are probably one of, if not the best teams in the tri-state area, maybe even beyond that. This past weekend, our 6U team came up a little bit short versus a team that was a little more aggressive and a little more seasoned, because on that level, most of those kids were brand new with the exception of one or two. So they went down. They played hard, but they didn't win. Our older team, the 8U team, older 8, right? Our older team ended up winning against a hotly contested match versus the team that has historically been the dogs of the division. So we beat them in that game. Ended up in a 6-0 victory in our favor. But it just goes to show that the hard work and dedication that all of us, led by those two young men, that we're putting in is starting to pay dividends, because that's how we were able to build those national championship teams, by retention. So you bring our kids in, have an incredible experience with the parents, have an incredible experience with the coaches, and then that creates connectivity, and they move through the program. And then when they get 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, they're tough to deal with.
Well, how dope is that? Big shout out, first of all, to BJ and Dejan. Children of coaches, children of the program, alumni, and then coming back. I remember a couple of experiences of us traveling, and I remember, once you're able to win a certain number of games locally, you were able to qualify to go to Florida. And so I think I went to Florida a few times.
Just a few.
But I want to say that I'm sure that has to be incredible, because some of these kids probably never left, their street before. But to go to another state has had to be incredible for the first time. I didn't go with you the first time, so
Yeah. So let me circle back for just a moment, if it's okay. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that my son, Little Mel, or Jamel, is also very involved. He's just in a different capacity. He's more on the administrative side, trying to help with fundraising. And we have this event, this alumni event coming up that he's spearheading. So yeah, he's also very involved. And I would hate for him to see this.
Oh no, I was going to let you.
Dad, that's how you're gonna do me. Yeah,
no, your whole family is going to get a section. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay, cool.
Because it's going to be some other people that's going to ask you too. I know.
Okay, so yeah, so as it relates to your question, so we do. So you've traveled with us, and you see how we travel. A lot of other organizations will hand you an itinerary and say, "Yo, this is where we're going to be. Meet us there. You need to be there by Saturday at 4." That is totally not the way we do things. No, we move as a unit. We have a dress code. We fly. We stay in villas. We do things in a top-notch kind of way that also lends to continuing to build out the village, or that brotherhood experience, because we are moving as a unit. That's it. You're not gonna act crazy because you're gonna make us all look crazy, right? And it was always a tremendous level of pride to go through the airport. our kids dressed appropriately in straight lines, not talking, focus, and have the luggage handler or the security or people just kind of walking up to us and saying, listen, man, you guys are doing a great job with those kids. You've made me proud. You've made me proud. Like, that's always been a proud moment for me to walk through and have people acknowledge that our kids are doing things the right way,
Sure. And so when you do go and travel, when you reach those destinations and they compete, what is that experience been for what has that been like for you? You've witnessed some highs and some lows, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. So I guess a high is us winning a national championship.
That's kind of high.
And being deemed the best team in the country. A low is you lose the first day and you kind of wasting your time there for the rest of the days, because once you lose, you go to the losers bracket, and the best you can do is third place, which really isn't nothing. It's nothing to sneeze at, right? Because that's still a major accomplishment. But you didn't go there for third. You went there for first. So you don't want to lose on day one, because now you might as well go to Astroland or Universal Studios. You might as well, like, you kind of lost the thunder. But
it's true.
But it's a part of what I like. One of the main things that I've encountered is us getting beyond the race thing or the color thing, right? Where guys believe in, I live in the hood, I'm tough, I'm gritty. I seen somebody get hurt, shot, killed, stabbed, robbed. So I'm good. I'm tough. You go out there, kids that don't necessarily look like you, gonna say yes sir, no sir. Live on a farm, whatever it is. They don't live the same life that we live. They don't live that urban setting life, but they're tough.
They live that football life. Yeah.
They live that football life. They eat, sleep, drink football. And they don't okay, cool, you live in the inner city. What exactly does that mean? I'm going after you even harder because you live in the inner city, So long day. So for me, it's always like leveling the playing field and explaining to our kids that where you from is almost irrelevant. Like, it's how you play the game. It's the level of intensity, that you bring to playing the game. It's the heart. And you hear that cliche. What do they say? It's not the size of the dog, it's the dog. The size of the fight, and the dog is the size of the dog and the heart. However it goes, I just blew that up, messed it up. But everybody conceptually understands the point that I'm making, that we see the little dog with the big heart that's willing to scare that big dog away. So you can't get caught up with, he's that and I'm this, or I'm that and he's this. You got to go out and perform every time on the field. So
with that being said, though, I'm New York, right? New York is urban. It's not. There's nobody. There's no fields. There's nobody just living that every day. It's an effort. It's not free. It's not easily accessible. And so New York for quite some time hasn't been part of that game. I mean, and I would like to say that Harlem Jets helped shape New York City being known to having ballers, as the hashtag goes.
Yeah, I think I want to thank one of my guys from Alex. He said, New York, hashtag New York has ballers. And I think that's a perfect example. I don't want to come across as being braggadocious or but I believe that we have personally played an integral role in establishing a whole culture around football, be it youth, high school, and college, right? Because we prepared our kids as if they were going to college from a very early age, and they excelled on the high school level, which consequently led to them getting, selected to go to elite level colleges, and has hopefully changed the trajectory of the life that they will live from this point forward, or from that point forward.
So let's talk about that. Preparing the children athletically is one thing, but academically has been also a focus. I remember kids, you have to show up with the credit, with the report card on the field. Like
Mm-hmm.
now you've evolved so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about how you hold, the kids accountable academically.
So in that regard, nothing has changed, right? So you have to bring your report card. If you don't bring it, we're going to take your helmet and your equipment from you. And what we've tried to communicate to people is that it's not a punitive thing, right? We're not trying to punish you in any way, size, shape, or form. What it is we're trying to take a glimpse or a snapshot of what you're doing academically so that we could try to help to support whatever it is you're doing. So if you're not doing so well, then we want to support that. If you're doing really well or you're doing, average, we want to always look towards enrichment so that it's always like there's always a step to be taken, right? So because we don't want you to become complacent with where you're at, because learning is never ending. So we always want you to be moving forward. We want you to be progressive. We want you to be, moving in that direction. So yeah. That's so yeah, we still and unfortunately, right, we'll have a kid that's maybe struggling a little bit academically, and then the parent will say, "Oh, I'm taking them to Kumar, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that." And I'm like, "Well, how long have you been going to Kumar?" "Oh, we've been there about 6-8 weeks." Okay, so you've been there 6-8 weeks paying your money and you haven't gotten a tangible result. So what I'm going to tell you is give us a shot at using this football thing or this sport, whatever it is, as the carrot to motivate them to do better academically, right? And then if it should work, because in most cases it does work, right? Because there's the power of the game, whatever it is, or the sport is, priceless.
So you're not kidding. And so the other incentives that you had, you partnered with this program, which we had them on About You, with Alex and George, and that actually had young people, had these kids now thinking about what they needed to really do to get into college, and so a lot of these kids coming from an understanding that they already had to do well to get into high school, but then the extra effort that was made by really your because you know how we do in our communities, someone has to be the rabbi or the person that says, okay, yeah, these people are good. And
Mm-hmm.
so About You came about. Yeah, I mean, the Harlem Jets had to really endorse it, for all these kids to start going there. um have you seen that impact the Jets itself by utilizing other resources to have kids better prepared for college? I guess college prep.
Mm-hmm. So in some ways, I call it the Jet experience, right?
Okay, okay, I like that.
Because through the Jet experience, everyone has experienced, an uptick. Like, it's like, oh, okay. When you see the place that has created or helped to create, right? Because I keep circling back to saying that it takes a village, right? And nothing happens without hard work and dedication. So through hard work and dedication, we're able to identify strengths and weaknesses because we push our guys to the limit, right? So through that, you'll say, okay, cool. We see that we feel like you're only giving us about 60% of what you could be giving us. And we want you to be great. So we're gonna ride you. We're gonna make you dig deeper and hold you accountable for extra workouts and all of this and all of that. So it's been like an organic transition. A has been with us for a very long time. He's had a couple different business ventures. Pleased to see that About You is thriving and doing well. And we've been a part of their success. As well as them having been a part of ours.
Part of your success. I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah, it's mutual. Yes.
Tremendously. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, DW. She said excellent stuff. So the other part here, and I need to say, is that it's not just for the time. Do you keep in touch? I heard you say something about an alumni event, but do you normally follow or keep in touch with your alumni? And keep those relationships going beyond football? I ask this. Look, I ask this of college. I ask of everybody. What do you do beyond that one time that you needed them? Like, do you support them after?
So you've seen it, and I'm sure you've heard it. We have a term: once a Jet, always a Jet. We were just at an event the other day, Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, with one of our kids, Elijah Jones from Boston College. Tremendous turnout. Most of the kids there were Harlem Jets. He was there. Some of the clinicians were Harlem Jets. So we really mean that. Like, once a Jet, always a Jet. We're always on the road. Like, Johnny's a little further away now, but we've already talked about coming out to Oregon to see him play and getting there to support him. Like, literally, like, we're on. You probably saw I was out at Purdue with the John
Sanusi and Corday.
Sanusi and Corday. Thank you. I caught a brain fog. Yeah, Sanusi and Corday, both of whom are my guys. That the thing that I think is most profound, right, Yaz, and I want to jump in and say this, is that none of the adult people that are let me not say none, because now we talked about Dejan and BJ. The vast of the older guard, none of us have ever tackled or blocked or did anything in a Harlem Jets uniform, right? So everything that's done or being done is based on the sweat equity of the young people, of the children, right? They built this thing from the ground up. They bled for us, right? And that's why I'm always, when I encounter crazy grown-ups, right? It's always a little bit difficult for me to be super heavy-handed with the kids, because 9 times out of 10, the kids are amazing. The kids are wonderful. They bleed for you, right? Literally, like literally, guys come off the field bleeding, right? So, hands, necks, scratch, whatever it is, they've bled for you. So minimally, I can try to reciprocate it in a way that shows that I appreciate your level of dedication and commitment.
Sure. What thoughts do you have of? I know everyone has a choice, but recently there's been so many concerns regarding safety. What would you say to a parent who is just kind of like going back and forth between flag or tackle? Or just maybe, another type of sport? What do you think football has to offer?
I think football is an incredible sport. I think it's closely mimics life. I think the fact that, through life, you're going to get knocked down, you got to get back up. You're going to get knocked down, you got to get back up. You may have that employee or that supervisor at work that's just, you just can't get away from them. Like, every day, they're like, waiting for you at your cubicle or at the water fountain, and they're just a jerk, and they mean you no good, but you got to deal with them. That's football. Like, that guy ahead of you, he worked out over the summer, and he's giving you a very hard way to go. And there are a couple things that you can do, right? So either you can say, damn, this guy's killing me, coach, get me out of here. Or you can say, nah, I'm going to dig a little deeper, right? And if it's really that bad, I'm going to whisper to my guy to the left and to the right, hey, man, this guy is a bit much for me today. I need your help. Because we're in the brotherhood together. We went to camp together. We went to this together. We in this together. I need a little help, bro. And you know what he's going to say? I got you. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Or you're going to come off the field and say, coach, this guy's doing this to me. He giving me some problems. And then we, from a strategic perspective, are going to figure out ways to minimize his effectiveness and move our effectiveness up 2 or 3 notches,
Right. So, the funniest story, and it goes like this. One of the trips that we did in Florida a long time ago, we played against this team. I don't remember the team. And, let me just say this, as a parent, I was one, but as a football mom, I took a lot of our wins and losses to heart. And so I took a lot of them to heart. Huh?
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I took a lot on the heart, and I don't even like some of the coaches after that we lost to. But I do want to say this, that if a program is teaching the kids the right way, the kids will always be the best for it. And so I remember we lost to this team, this California team. I was telling you this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens that the wide receiver on that team now plays for the Oregon Ducks. And
wow.
And not only do they play, does he play for the Oregon Ducks? He's like, his locker is right next to my son's, right?
Wow.
And so one day he said, "Did you play for the Jets?" And Johnny said, "Yeah, I did." He says, "Oh, we played you guys. You guys were really good. I mean, we won." Of course they said that, but you guys were really impressive, because they just couldn't believe a team from New York, right, could come out and play and like almost like win like the Nationals, which we did a couple of times, but they were just so surprised. But this guy, Chris Hudson, he played for the California team, and because of the impact that the Jets did on Johnny and the rest of the teammates, that he remembered that, I guess.
Wow.
And now, I mean, they probably now will have a much better bond because they get to play together. Who would have thought?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that kid. I remember that kid. He played for the IE Ducks.
Oh, he played for another Ducks. Okay.
Yeah, he played for the IE Ducks. And but that's the thing, right? When we talk about sports, like football in particular, lifelong bonds, right? Like basketball, you can have a guy that can go get it. He gets you 35, 40 a night, and he can football is one of those things where, man, it's the ultimate team sport, man. Like it without your team, it's just not gonna happen, right? Without an O line, without a D line, without the quarterback, without everybody being in sequence, it's just not gonna happen.
That's right.
It's just flat out not gonna happen. So yeah, and it creates lifelong bonds for real.
Yeah.
Like to go through the trenches, like I said, you come off the field at the end of the game, you've been in the locker room, guys is battered and bruised. They battered and bruised. You need you need a treatment.
Yes.
Get my ice packs, let's wrap my knees, put it around my back. You need and so that within itself is a brotherhood when you getting the treatment. That's
right.
We in this thing together, bro.
When you go to war, that's definitely the bond.
Exactly. It closely mimics war. We went through war together.
Yeah.
And hopefully we came out successful.
Hopefully.
But it's just one of those crazy things that you can't really quantify it, but it's priceless,
Well, we have a couple more minutes left. Why don't you tell us what's up, what's next, what's coming up, what should we be looking for? And in addition, if we wanted to support or learn more information, where we go. So why don't you first start telling us what's your upcoming events?
So up and coming, we have this past Saturday, we just had our homecoming for the little kids, but moving forward, on the July 8th, July 1st, we're having our alumni event. July 8th, we're having a field hockey event at Harlem River Park. Both of these events will be held at Harlem River Park, 128th and 3rd. There'll be more information that will be shared on our website, so on and so forth. If you're looking for us, we're really easy to find at www.harlemjets.org. In terms of social media, our Facebook is harlem.jets. Our Instagram is at harlemjetsinc, and our Twitter is at harlem_JETS. Yes, they've been kind enough to drop it in the chat for us. Yes, that is we're missing our Instagram, so hopefully we can get that in there. I'll type it in the chat and we can
that's cool.
in there. Yeah, we'll drop that in there. But yeah, so did I? Oh, okay, yeah, there we go. So yeah, those are some of the important things. We're still currently looking for additional players on every level. We have a ton of kids already, but we're looking for, we take pride in taking a kid that's never played before and teaching them how to play the game and watching them go off to do incredible things like we've done. I think that's what really separates us from some of the other programs, that we teach our kids how to play football, right? If you've been to
thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Coach Alex puts it in.
If you nice picture too, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
If you come to a Harlem Jet practice, it will closely mimic any of the top high school practices. We'll have all of the tools of the trade: sleds, pads, footballs. Like, so we're just not out there running around trying to arbitrarily just run plays. No, we're running a structured practice that starts off with a dynamic warm-up, goes into to individuals. From individuals, we go to group, and then from group, we go to team. So that's kind of like the format that you'll find at any elite level high school. And we're not just looking to throw balls around and just, play to be playing. That's
why do you say that? Why do you say that? Is that something that is thought of what we do or what happens in certain programs, or are you just saying this because you really make a concerted effort for the development to occur?
Yeah, no, it's a deliberate effort. It's
Sure.
very, very calculated. A lot of thought goes into it, practice plans and things of that nature. Because I think it's a cliche, but it's like if you fail a plan, you plan to fail, right? So, and it's too much of an undertaking to just go out and be running around like you're gonna cause somebody to get hurt, man. Like, nah, we only have practice 3 times a week. And then that's during the off season, and then during the regular season, we're practicing twice. So every second, every minute, everything matters. You know what I mean?
Okay, so a couple more questions. One, what has been one of the, I don't know, I'm sure there's been so many, but tell us one instance that was just a credit to the program, that you knew that this was your why.
So do you want it to be, does it matter? Like, can I use a real life experience?
Yeah.
Or can I use, we had one of our, I don't want to tell that one because I think people know who that is. Just the fact that whenever our kids are in need of anything, right? You want to be more specific. We had a kid have a fire in their house, right? House burned, to smithereens. And the way that we as a community circled the wagons to ensure that kid was made, we were like, obviously we can't get you back to 100%, right? Because you have things that were near and dear to you that were lost. But we ensured that he was in a state, that him and his family were in a safe environment. They had food, they had clothes, they had shelter, they had everything they needed to sustain themselves until more help could arrive, right? Until a more permanent solution could be put in place, right? And those are the types of things that, we have kids that in some instances make bad decisions. We circle the wagons. We call each other. Yo, listen, who can get where? Who can do what? Okay, let's hit Coach Bob. Yo, hey, where are you, Tyson? Where are you, Mel? Where are you? Like, we have our guys, and look, we're on it. We're on it, and we're on it immediately. And we're to the best of our ability. We're on it until there's a positive resolution. And sometimes the positive resolution is that you're positively in trouble, but we're still there for you and with you. You understand what I'm saying?
I do understand.
Yeah,
it's important to get that. I mean, it's love. It's called love, right?
Right.
Circling the wagons and the commitment that comes in just shows the amount of love that you have for your kids, and you're kind of all like, a few of you all are grounded here, so you kind of see your kids every day, or in the streets, or you can kind of stop them.
Yes.
So the last thing I just wanted to ask, this has to be a lot of your time. How do you balance work and life? I mean, like, how do you do that with your family, having a date night? Big shout out to Twinique. How do you do this?
Well, I've come to the realization that I have to be deliberate, right? I have to be
Absolutely.
deliberate. And then, for a long time, you were a part of that. You've heard the rumblings. You can invite Mel, but he's not coming, right? To a lot of some of those, the other extracurricular activities. I just didn't have time. Like now that I'm a little older, like I understand the importance of being present, right? So if someone thinks enough of me to invite me, similar to yourself inviting me to be on your show, right? There's always other things that you could be doing, but we don't live in the land alone. And what I do for you today, you may be able to do for me tomorrow, right? So it's important that you show up for people and you show up in a way where you're adding, right? You're not subtracting. You're not showing up with a piss poor attitude because I didn't really want to be here. Like, nah, you showing up. Listen, what do you need? How can I help? What's going on? Oh, I'm having a great time. Yo, listen, I saw them over there. We went through a little bit of, watch, it's a little something going on over there. We need to, we got little eye signals.
But you bring your family. Things. But I know
that's so I really believe it. As if you were at the Tiny Mike game this past weekend, you would have seen my daughter front and center at the door. Listen, you coming in here, this is what it is. You gotta, Shelby is the this Harlem Jet thing means more to her than I think anybody else. Like she has totally put herself in a position to be like an executive with the Harlem Jets, earned and not given. Like literally, like Shelby is just the end all to be all. Twinique is so involved. Twinique has so much. She's developing her own business. She has her Twinique's Kitchen, and she does some stuff. So she's been entrepreneurial in that way. She has a lot going on. So she's not able to be with us as much because it's important that she chase her dream. You know what I mean? Like Harlem Jets is my dream. Twinique's Kitchen and the stuff that she's doing is her dream. So it's important that everyone chase their dreams, and when our paths can cross and we can have collaborative efforts that add, then absolutely let's all be together and show support and do things that are important and helpful to each other. But yeah, I couldn't do this without my family. They make it, when I finish here, I'm gonna go home. I'm sure I'll have some hot dinner, hot conversation,
I hope so.
before going to bed, because, I think it's important. But family, that's why it's important that, we always stress family. The Harlem Jets are a family program. We got, this past weekend, we got granny, we got auntie, we got uncle, we got like the extended family, the guy that's on the block that saw you walking past with your helmet and shoulder pads, and you say, yo, I got a game this weekend, you gonna come check me out? And he like, yeah, I'm gonna be over there. And he come. I've seen I'll see, because I'm born and raised in Harlem, I see so many of my childhood friends coming back, right? Yes. Some have children, some have grandchildren, and they're all there still understanding that it takes a village to get this thing done,
Yes. And I also want to just say thank you for who you are and what you've done. I've seen you support. I've seen you as someone that believes in second chances, and giving everyone a shot. And I've seen you, always giving, even making bricks out of straw. I've seen that. And it's always been a pleasure just to watch from afar and even to be part of it. I knew nothing about NPR mandatory until I raised my hand and said, yeah, I could do it. And, learning that as a parent, it was just incredible. And I'm sure you've had many parents that come from all walks of life, that when they all get there, it's you just start off, you ain't got nothing. Don't matter who you are and what you've been, right? You just start off, everybody's there is for their kid. And so that's the thing we all had in common, and what I enjoyed. And I also just wanted to say to you that, you have no idea the level, the impression that you may have on a child. The first trip my son went on was to Ohio, and we went to the Hall of Fame. And I don't know if that made an impact, but he went to the Hall of Fame, and he probably would have never gone if it wasn't for you guys. and he wants to be in the Hall of Fame, and so that has just been incredible. Oh, what's up, Clyde? Clyde from Fantastic Job, Coach.
Thanks. Clyde's my guy. Alex put up the go. Like so yeah, it's like the when I laugh, right, because you got drafted into becoming the NPR monitor and a hotly contested game that had value, and you with your strong personality, that was exactly what we needed when we needed it, because the NPR monitor is in charge. And for those that don't know, in the games, they've actually eliminated it in some of the leagues, but there's a mandatory. Every kid is guaranteed 5 to 8 plays based on the size of the roster. So if for some reason by the game goes on at the beginning of the fourth quarter, whomever has not played, they have to go in the game. And the NPR monitor is the person. So there's supposed to be an NPR monitor jotting down the amount of plays, and a spotter from the other team telling her, did you see 7 in? Did you see 13 in? So if you're on the sideline and you happen to be with an irresponsible person that chose to be on their phone or do something, anything less than paying 100% attention, and you happen to miss that a particular player got a play or not, it doesn't matter. It's whatever the NPR monitor says at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So
that's all you had to tell me. That's all you had to tell me. I'm in charge.
So, that they are in charge. So that could be the difference. And we actually lost a game because of that, a regional game out in Jersey, because it was a hotly contested game, zip going into the fourth quarter. And then they pulled that. We had a huge roster, 35 players. And then we got a kid with soccer cleats on. And we're like, oh my God, this is going to end bad for us. And sure enough, it ended horribly. And we ended up losing, and everybody was mad. And, it's just been, it's just been so many peaks and valleys in this thing. But I'm sometime disappointed, but I'm not ever discouraged, right? Because I believe that the work that we're doing is so impactful, right? I think the amount of lives that we've saved, right, we can never quantify that, because there are so many kids that could have gone left, but we said, yo, like you see me sometime, I act crazy with kids. Yo, my man, I'll knock your head off. Do that again. Let me hear you talk to your mother like that. Be disrespectful. I'm on your back. But, and before you leave my company, I'm going to put my arm around you and tell you how much I love you, how much I respect you, and how much I appreciate you. And I'm on your back because I see something in you that at this particular moment in time, you may not see in yourself, right? Because I'm looking at you and I see it because I've seen it before, right? Like I've seen it before, so I know what it looks like. You haven't seen it, you've yet to see it, so you don't know. So because I've seen it, I'm like, yo, listen, we can't do that ever again. But if you do it again, I'm gonna be on your behind again, because I'm a firm believer in restorative justice. I heard you say about, mention about second chances, third chances. I'm a guy that's been given chances to do right and be right. And I believe that people make bad decisions, right? And as a young person, you don't always understand the consequences associated with bad behavior or being disrespectful. Like kids now say crazy things to people that I, as an older man, haven't ever said, inviting them to your private parts and things like that. And I explained to them that there are some people in our world that if you say something like that to them, they might kill you.
Literally.
They might literally kill you and leave you there dead and not think a second about it. So you on the subway and you want to be a tough guy, somebody bump into you. Oh, yo, my man, that might be your last day on earth, man. So I'm always in favor of being preventive, right? Yeah. Instead of being reactive, I want to be preventive, right? If we can prevent you, because once you're hurt, right? Obviously, once you're dead, you're dead. So if we could prevent that, then by all means, let's try to be preventive, and allow our kids to grow and develop organically and become the best that they can possibly be.
So on that night, you got a lot of kids in the hopper, and we're gonna close off with this. On that night, this is one of your kids. they get called in for the draft,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta speak to other kids, not necessarily about this kid, but just about
Mm-hmm.
the work of the Harlem Jets in like a sentence. Like, what would you say to kids now? Because they only see this side, they don't see the part that it takes to get there. But what would you tell a kid who wants to be like that kid?
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming to you because everybody wants instant gratification, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what would you say to a child or to even a parent? Because we know parents sometimes live vicariously through their kids. What would you say to them about the struggle and discipline?
So what I mean, and this is really simple, Yasmin. It's very, very simple. This isn't a complicated thing at all. Any of our guys that have excelled to that level, it is a testament of what hard work and dedication will do for you. And it is not just hard work and dedication on the field, it's hard work and dedication in the classroom. It's hard work and dedication at home, because you've developed a thing called discipline, right? Without discipline, you're unable to accomplish really anything, because everything takes a level of commitment. Anything that's of value, like to borrow something from TD Jakes, like anyone who's accomplished anything of great significance, they have to go through a crushing period where you're sacrificing. So I know for a fact, and if I may respectfully use a Johnny, I know for a fact that there are parties that he hasn't attended. There are things that he hasn't done. There are family activities that he's had to miss. There are, like, your birthday might be that day, but my God, you got to get to this workout, right? So there's a level of sacrifice, dedication, and commitment, passion, trust in the process, listening with the level of understanding, right? Because there's listening to say you heard it, and then there's listening with a level of understanding so that you can apply it, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to package all of that up, mm-hmm. and then that's what you're going to see on the stage, right? If you take an element out, then that could potentially be the reason why you don't reach your full potential. If you got to be willing to do all of those things in totality to get from where you are to where you need to be. And that's just not on the field, that's in life.
Jamel Wright, Harlem Jets co-founder and CEO. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You've been a pleasure. It's a pleasure. We're going to be watching you. Anything that you're doing, we're going to follow it and share it accordingly. We appreciate everything that you've done. Thank you for being a guest.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. If I may, Yaz, before I go, there's anyone who wants to help or support the program, if you're interested in becoming a coach, donating, anything, you can reach us at area code 646-234-2004. I should have dropped that in the chat. So that's our number, 646-234-2004. If you're looking to make 646-2004, right? That's our mobile number. If you're looking to donate, you can visit our website, www.harlemjets.org. You can donate. If you're looking to become a coach, you can visit us at that website, or you can call that number. If you're looking to find out what our schedules are and come out and support that way, you can call that number, visit the website. We're always in need of good quality people to be supportive of the children in our community. And just, it takes a village. So come be a part of the village.
We will. And thanks again. Looking forward to what's happening July 1st. I'll probably be at that event. So,
okay.
And big shout out to Lil Mel for making that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably do something live there and then promote it here.
That'd be great. Yes.
Right.
And we got to set this trip up to Oregon, because I owe my guy Johnny a visit, and I'm absolutely going to make that trip.
Okay. And we're going to also bring some kids on the show. So let's plan for that too. Okay.
Yes, we have some kids that are doing tremendous things, and not only I'd like to try to bring, when we do it, I like to try to bring kids from every segment of the program, so that we're it's wide ranging, and we get to speak from different perspectives, because we're really doing it. We're really doing it, man. I'm proud of the direction that the program is going in.
Okay, so we're gonna close out unless there's anything else you'd like to share. But I think you've been incredible. The organization's incredible. Your volunteers, and thanks again, Jamel Wright.
Signing off. Thanks for having me. Have a good evening.
Good evening. So you've been what an incredible
you still taping, or is it still taping?
I'm closing out right now. Give me a second. We had an incredible show. If you're interested, I know there's some people that want to do this, want their kids to do it, they want to do it. Get involved. It's really a worthy cause to get involved in something. And if you just so happen to choose the Harlem Jets, I don't think you'll be disappointed. That being said, Phoenix Soul, we're out. I'm Yaz Hurston. We'll see you next week. Peace.